All right, let's go ahead and start with math. So we always need a pencil, paper, and if you have Post-its, go ahead and grab 2 Post-its. If you don't, it doesn't matter, right? We already talk about that. It doesn't matter if you don't have Post-its, just if you have it next to you, okay? So piece of paper, pencil. I'm going to use pen just so it shows up, but I want you to use a pencil. Okay, if you need to go grab that, pause this video. Otherwise, here we go. Go ahead and put your name up top and date. So name and date up top. The date is August 27th, I think tomorrow is. Let's see, 27. Name and date up top. We always fold our paper over and we make a crease in it. And then we trace that line. Oops. Wow. Yours is going to be straighter than mine. Then you find that circle and you go across like this. Now we have 4 quadrants, okay? This is quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. Okay? That's a 2, by the way. Okay, go ahead and have this written down. Now I'm going to move faster than I normally would because you're the only one watching the video. So if you need me to slow down, you pause the video. All right? So we always write our tatati. So here we go. Tatati. The important thing about today is, okay? Then we write Iwabat. Iwabat. I will be able to and we're going to be able to show how arrays represent or another word for that is show multiplication. So we've been working on arrays. We're going to show how arrays help us with multiplication. So if you don't have room, go ahead and write that in the first quadrant. That's okay. If you don't have room to write it all, write it in the first quadrant. So Iwabat. I will be able to show how arrays represent or show multiplication. So we're going to be able to show how arrays mean multiplication. Okay? So go ahead and get that done. And I'm going to get my first Post-it. Remember, if you don't have a Post-it, it's okay. And you're going to put it right there. We always put it like opening a book. And we're going to do 2 today. Remember, Post-its are for key vocabulary. So we go ahead and write KV, key vocabulary, and we trace our book. Key vocabulary, and we trace our book. Okay, so our first key vocabulary is going to be row. A row. Let's think. What is a row? Maybe this will help. Our next word is a column. So our key vocabulary is rows and columns. So a column is easy to remember because it goes up like that and down like that. Okay? Like columns on a building. Up and down like columns on a building. See how I ran out of room and I just went ahead into quadrant 4? That's okay. Go ahead and get that down. I'm going to move on, so if you need me to slow down, go ahead and pause the video. So columns go up and down like holding up a building, okay? Rows go side to side. Remember, if I'm writing it, you're writing it. So everything I have here so far should be in your book as well, okay? So a row goes side to side. Go ahead and get that written down, and we're going to move on in just a minute. All right, so row, side to side. Go ahead and pause it. I'm going to move on otherwise. Okay, so quadrant 3, I'm going to give you an example. So if we have, so I'm going to ask, how many rows are there? And then you're writing this as well, and then under this line you're going to put how many rows there are. My second question I'm going to ask you to do in your third quadrant are how many columns are there? So how many rows are in this picture? Remember, rows go this way, side to side. And how many columns are there in this picture? Columns go up and down. So go ahead and do that, and we'll come back to it at the end. So I want you to put your answer in, and I'm not going to tell you the answer until we're all the way done. Okay, I want to just make sure we're checking up on each other here. How many rows are there, and how many columns are there? Okay, go ahead and pause the video if you need me to slow down or to stop so that you can figure out how many rows and how many columns there are, and that you have all of this written in your book. Okay. We're going to go ahead and move on. So I'm going to draw these triangles. You go ahead and do the same thing. All right, that's a lot to do. So go ahead and make sure you have that. I have it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines down and 4 triangles across. Go ahead and do that on your paper as well. So in this one, if you need me to slow down or stop, pause the video. In this one, I want you to answer 3 things. So we're going to have A, B, and C. So for A, I want to know how many rows are there? So rows equal how many? For B, how many columns? And for C, I want to see a multiplication expression. So a multiplication expression is a multiplication sentence or a way of saying something to describe the picture. And remember, the picture is this. So how would we show this using numbers? How would we show this as a multiplication problem? Remember, we talked yesterday, this is an array. So think of groups of. So first of all, A, how many rows are there here? B, how many columns do you see here? And then C, write a multiplication problem showing this. Okay? So instead of writing C down like I have, just write the multiplication problem. Okay, go ahead and pause the video if you're still listening but you're not done. Pause the video because I'm going to move on. Okay? All right, so I'm going to say, how many rows are there? Remember, rows go this way. So there are 2 rows. And how many columns are there? Columns. Columns go up and down, like columns on a building. So how many? 1, 2, 3. There are 3 columns. Check back to see if you had that. And if you don't understand, maybe you can reverse the video and watch again. See how I got that there are 2 rows, 2 going that way, and 3 columns, 3 going down. Great. And now we want to know how many rows are here. So is it 1, 2, 3, 4? Nope. That's columns, right? Columns go down. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 columns. So how many rows are there then that go side to side? How many rows? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. Now I'm going to show you a trick. So we know that there's 5 rows and 4 columns. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to show you a trick. You can just do 5 times 4, and that's your multiplication expression. So 5 times 4 is 20. See how I got that? 5, 10, 15, 20. Or 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. Okay, you can also count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. There are 20 total. Our multiplication expression is 5 times 4 equals 20. Okay? So we know that because 5 times 4, another way to say that is 5 groups of 4. If it was 4 groups of 5, how many would there be? Take a second to think about that. How many would there be if there was 4 groups of 5? You can pause your video and think about that. All right, so on the back side, let's try it. So let's say I had 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 times 5 is 4 groups of 5. So I have 4 groups. 1 group, 2, 3, and 4. 4 groups. And I want to have 5 things in each. Is this the same? or different than 5 groups, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of 4. Go ahead and circle which one you think. Same or different? The total amount, they look different, but does it have the same amount of x's inside or a different amount of x's inside? Which one do you think? Does it have the same amount or a different amount? It has the same amount because it's 5 groups of 4, which is still 20 total. Let's check it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. See? 20 in there. Let's see about here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 and 20, they're the same thing. We just switched them. So for the last one we did 5 times 4, and the first one we did 4 times 5. It's the same amount of x's inside, we just changed the array. Go ahead and write with me. They are the same we just changed the array. Okay, so we just changed up the array. We just did 5 times 4, or 5 groups of 4, instead of 4 groups of 5. But the total amount is the same. So the total stays the same. The total amount stays the same. Okay, and that's always the case. If you flip these numbers, it's always the same. If you add random numbers in there, it's not going to be the same because it's a whole different array. But if you just flip those, it's always going to be the same. Okay. All right, now I'm going to give you a challenge problem. Okay, so your challenge problem is this. So Kimberly arranges her 18 markers as an array. Draw an array that Kimberly might make. Then write a multiplication equation to describe your array. So we know that Kimberly wants to make an array. Oh, let me get started. Okay, wants to make an array with 18 markers. Now, markers is a lot to draw. So let's just draw circles or ovals, okay? We know that she has 18. So 1, 2, those are all 18 markers. So what is an array that Kimberly could make? She wants to make an array, but what's one that she could make? Now this is going to be tricky, but we could think about it as, is 18 an even or an odd number? Is 18 even or is it odd? It's even, right? So we know that it can definitely go into two groups, right? Because it can evenly be divided into two groups. So let's go ahead and do that then. Let's just give ourselves two groups. Now if you're on the third page, that's okay. Use all the pages you need. All right. So they're going to be evenly divided into two groups. Remember we talked about evenly, each side gets a fair amount. So to make sure we do that, we could go 1 there and then go back. So far we have 4 markers. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to add another one here, cross it off. Here, cross it off. Oops, I skipped that one. All right, you get the point. So you keep going, okay? Every time you cross one off, you go into the next box. Make sure they're always even. It's like a scale, okay? All right, see how I finished on this one with no more left? Let's make sure I did it right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is that even? Are they equal? Is it split fairly? Yes, right? So that's one way she could make an array. She could make it into two groups. Absolutely. Think about another way. What's another way that she could do it? You can pause your video if you need to think for a minute, but think about other ways she could do it. I can think of 3. So let's go ahead and make 3. And let's see, we're gonna go, we don't need to draw these again. I'm gonna show you another way. So now we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And look, I finished with 18 on this square. That means they're evenly distributed, evenly put into those boxes. Evenly means fairly, right? And equally. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's other ways you could do it. Those are some ways I can think of. So for this one, it would be 2 groups of 9. Okay? 2 groups of 9. Or you can say 2 times 9. Those are the same things, right? So for this one, go ahead and tell me what it would be. Blank groups of blank, or blank times blank. Go ahead and fill that in. Go ahead and pause the video so you have time to fill that in. So press the pause button on the video so you can fill that in. So this would be 3 groups, right? 1, 2, 3. 3 groups of, how many in each group? 6. 3 groups of 6, right? Or 3 times 6. Awesome job. I hope you guys understand how these arrays help us with multiplication. And we can even go 6, 12, 18, 9, 18, right? We still get 18 markers in the end. And that's why it's so important to know your skip counting, which we're going to learn our skip counting songs so soon. And it's really important to know repeated addition, right? If you know how to count by 5s and 10s and by 3s, 6s, 9s, all of those, you're going to be really great at math, at multiplication, okay? So 3 groups of 6, 6, 12, 18, or 3 groups of 6, 3 times 6, or 3 groups of 6. All right, I hope that was helpful for you. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to do a time to climb, okay? So I want to see how much you understood from this lesson. And so just do your best, okay? And we will always work on this tomorrow. Remember, Eureka, the math that we do every day, we don't just learn it once. We learn it many times, okay? So I hope today's lesson was good. Go to the next slide.